then there's one more thing that we're going to talk about as far as the, or actually two more things. But the next one is also just as important in applying the shots and movements. And oftentimes this has been overlooked, especially with the students who are still grasping this craft. And that is camera movement. Now, when we think about shots, angles, but we never talk about how we can move that to create a different type of emotions or different type of emphasis that helps drive your story to a more or stronger product.
Yeah.
So in this case, everything that we talk about will require some sort of tripod.
Yeah.
If it doesn't require a tripod, most likely you will be either handheld holding the camera or through a Steadicam. And we're going to talk about 3 different types. Maybe 4. Mm-hmm. I think we should talk about the 4th one. The first one we want to talk about is panning and also tilting. So let's begin with the most simple one, panning and then tilting.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, panning and tilting, like you said, those are the 2 most basic camera movements. Panning is looking left and right, It's very easy to do that if you have a static shot. Static means still. A static shot means a still shot because the camera is just on a tripod. So you can just move the camera head left and right. It's just the same as you turning your head and looking. So people use it for that a lot of times. A lot of times it's easy to use this type of shot to reveal the location, to reveal or to expose your setting. And then the tilt is, of course, up and down movement of it's like you're looking up and down. I always compare everything here to how your eyes see it,
And how your head kind of moves around too.
Exactly, yeah. Because the camera basically are your eyes, And so looking up and down, when would you use that in real life situation? So just remember pan and tilt. Pan is going left and right, tilt is going up and down.
The second thing we want to talk about is pedestal. In other words, just craning. That's also another term too.
Right.
Next, we want to talk about dollying left and right. That also adds another effect as well.
It's also called trucking.
Trucking.
Or tracking sometimes. Yeah.
Dollying the camera in and out. And zooming in and out. We all know what's zooming. Mm-hmm. But why dollying? And what's the difference? Is there any purpose? So let's begin with the definition. What is a zoom and what's a dolly?
Well, zoom these days, zoom is a switch that you can push and it'll magnify the image. That's all it's basically doing, is magnifying the image. A dolly, they call a dolly is because a dolly is a cart. And back in the days, they still use this now. I still prefer this method. You put your camera and you actually sit on a cart with your camera on like a tripod, and then someone pushes you on these tracks, and they push the whole camera and you forward and back. So, it's not a magnification. You're actually moving the camera back and forth. I prefer using a dolly over a zoom any day because it feels more realistic. It feels like you're actually traveling through a space rather than, because in real life with our human eyes we can't zoom.
Yeah, we can't zoom at all.
Yeah. I wish we could. That'd be awesome, but we can't do that, so it feels very unnatural to me. Now, of course, you can use a slow zoom to magnify a situation or magnify or bring attention to something. It just has a more natural feel. That's all I can say.
I would prefer to use the dolly for the reason is that besides the emotional part, but it's allowing us to connect and being part of the scene as well.
You feel like you're floating through.
Yes.
Through the set or the space that you're filming in, or you give the audience a chance to feel that they're floating through it, you know, and so they become more involved, more ingrained into the scene.
Yes. So go ahead and experiment it. Experiment that on your whenever you have that project, just to make sure that makes sense.
Yeah.